What's good, my man of society? It is your host with the most, Shadow Look, back at you with another video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free. That is how you help my channel get into the algorithm. Highly appreciate if you go ahead and do that. Now, yesterday I did a video, answering two of my subscribers' questions, and individuals got at me through my email, right? And you know, began to talk, you know, there's smack, pretty much saying that why am I hating on these channels, right? Which is not hatred, right? When you just come and speak the truth, it's not hatred. I think people get confused of what hatred is, or talking shit about somebody. Talking shit about somebody is when you're making up stuff about them when it's not true. Stuff that's, lies, right? When you're lying on somebody, when you're calling them out of their name like bitches and pussies and making up stuff about them, that's when you're hating and talking shit. When I come and I merely just speak the truth, right? Hey, these individuals, are rats because they have paperwork on them. That's because that's the truth. They have paperwork on them, and that's what they're considered in the street world, rats. You know what I mean? That's just calling it for what it is. Not calling them pussies or lames. I'm not calling them, making up all this stuff. Merely speaking the facts, right? And they were saying that how, these individuals, are looking to unite the raza and are just looking to, create a unity between the raza. And that's not true. Individuals like this are not looking to unite the raza, are looking for, our people to come together. They're two of the most individuals that talk shit about, raza all the damn time on here, on YouTube. You know, talking shit about other channels, at their convenience, right? It's acceptable, right? They're allowed to critique other people, critique other content creators, critique, what they talk about, what their channels are about, what they upload about, you know, they know the truth. These people don't. When they do it, it's acceptable. When they do it, it's hating. It's like I said, it's hypocritical, right? When they do it, they want everything. They want everybody to be quiet and just to accept it and support. But when somebody else does it, all of a sudden it's hating, and these individuals are haters, and they can't keep their names out of their mouth. When these two individuals are the ones that normally start all the drama on YouTube, you know talking, they're the ones that start talking, about individuals. For example, the No Jumper, Strength Cartel, West Watson, those individuals never made a video about these individuals. Same with the Renegade Media, and others, right? We could go on and on. But like I said, right there is like, oh, when somebody now points it out on them, they're like, they can't keep our names out of their mouths, they need our channels to be relevant. It's like the same questions that you're telling me, or the same thing that you're saying, me, you should go and see it on them. You're picking and choosing, you know, what's acceptable and what's not acceptable, or what to hear and what not to hear. You hear all the positive that they say, but you don't see all the negative that they do. You know what I mean? Because everything that you said, you can go right ahead and tell those individuals why they do what they do as well. When they do it to these other channels, why is it acceptable for when they do it, but people can't call them out when they do it? you know and like I said, I wasn't lying on them when I said, that they're pretending to be something. That they're still trying to be gangsters. Then why won't they talk about them not being no good? Why don't they talk about how they snitched? Individuals got sent, and given more time because of the black and white that they dropped. And that's not lies. You can go and argue with the fucking documents and with the individual that came on here, the one that, did the time. And he himself confessed to it too as well. Keep in mind that you can go and try to find the video. But he himself, and like I said, there's many people who've seen that video that could confirm what I'm saying. So I'm not the one that's being a hater, and I'm not the one that's being negative, or the one that's like, mind your own, or this is, hey, you should go tell those individuals that you support so much. The ones that you say are righteous, and the ones that are really doing it for the raza, and the ones that are really for positivity. The ones that start all the beefs and the negativity and all the drama. Whenever their views aren't doing so well, they spark up some dramas in order to get their views up, right? I mean, it's a pattern, and you can't see that because you're being played. You're believing every single word that they say, like if it's gold. When, bro, they're just playing you for your view. They don't give a fuck. Making up stories and lying. The same thing like how they say that these individuals make up stories and speak about other people's, stories and stuff, is the same thing that these individuals do as well. And there's all kinds of videos, to show as evidence of that they try to deny. They act like if people are deaf and blind. And that's not hating, bro. That's speaking 100% facts. Tell me what I'm lying about. Like I said, I'm not calling them out of their name, not making up stuff about them. I'm merely spitting the facts on things. They want to critique and talk shit about other people and what they can and can't do on their channel and why they do it. But when somebody, points out the truth about them, they say it's hating. They say it's negativity. They say that we jealous and envious. You know what I mean? So like I said, you should ask the same question to them that you're coming asking over here. Because we're merely only speaking the facts. You know? Like you said, well, you don't have to watch the content. Hey, we're being asked by subscribers these questions. We're giving our opinions, right? Same how they say, why they speak on who they speak on, right? It's accepted when they do it, but when other people do it, it's not accepted. Come on now. The hypocrisy. You know what I mean? Like I said, they should just keep it real. If they say that they're keeping it real, you can't be mad at people now when they're pointing out the dishonesty and the lies. Obviously, they don't want to, admit that they told for a reason, right? Because they still want to be considered gangster and see gangster and solid and, righteous. Real individuals that are on the streets ain't messing with these people, bro. And that's just the facts of things. Shane, Shadow, we out.